I've been looking for ways to try and improve my Soundminer searching to try and get to better results more quickly. And this is what I've come up with, which is an interface scripted in AutoHotkey. So the way it works is I can string together different search terms. So we have boom, whoosh, for example. I can choose a location that I'd like to search, which is just a save search in my Soundminer save searches right here. And when I hit search, it'll first select the save search and then enter the search term into the search field. I can clear everything with this button here. I can also do Boolean operations by hitting a control and then clicking a term, or I can do an omission operation by hitting Alt and then hitting another term. I have a couple of other saved searches here, so I could, for example, search from just my personal records, and then I hit whoosh, and I hit search again, and it should update that in Soundminer. So now I'm getting all my records in my personal library that are populated with the whoosh term. So in a way, this is similar to the multi-meta tag editor in Soundminer. This doesn't exist in Soundminer 5 for Windows, but it does in Mac, and I know it does in the new version 6. The difference is the multi-meta tag editor, you can additively add metadata to the metadata fields versus this, which is I guess you're stringing together different terms and then adding it into the search field. There are a couple of things that I like about this approach to searching for sounds. Number one is the visual aspect of having all these search terms in front of you, which is, for me personally, very convenient because I can quickly glance across all these different terms and it could potentially inspire me to search for different things depending on what I'm currently designing. And I've structured this in a way that is useful for my sound design purposes. So a lot of these terms are the things I'm generally searching for anyways. And on top of that, if I do have an idea that is outside of these search terms, I can just manually type something in as well. Another thing that I really like is you can get more complex. And what I've done for a lot of these buttons is I haven't just assigned a single string to a button. So for example, you can see in Braum, it is in fact just Braum when I enter it into the text box here, but I also have the option to map more complex search terms to buttons. So for example, electricity has a couple of Boolean operations going on. And what I like about this is I can assign strings to these buttons to either be more specific or I can be more generalistic and kind of widen the search. And an example of this is with something like tonal modulation. If I type that in, what this is doing is a more general approach that's going to cover more metadata in my records because I have these or Boolean operations between tonal, tone, pitch, and frequency, and that has to be combined with modulate, move, or motion. And so this is going to cover a larger range of records because of the combinations of these different strings. The reason why this cuts off the E at the end is to be inclusive of modulation and as well as modulate. On the other hand, I can get more specific, and I know I have for something like energy, I'm looking for a certain type of energy. And so what I've done here is I have the initial energy term, but that it always has to be inclusive of what you might consider something more specific to a sci-fi type of energy, because that tends to be what I'm looking for when searching for energy type sounds. The last reason why this is useful is because with these terms here, I can map more synonyms. Although I tend to populate my metadata in a certain way, it can be more inclusive in terms of finding sounds across all my libraries, my personal libraries, my commercial libraries, as opposed to just having the terms that would be found in my metadata. So I find that very useful. So that's about it. It would be interesting to see something like this in Soundminer in the future.